Good evening, everyone. Welcome to 2016. My name is Christian Karasevich. I am the founder of Social Chefs. And basically what we are a social media marketing training and education site. And my aim is to give you the best training on the web on social media marketing. And, this is something I've been at for, what am I at, like 9 years now, I think, 10 years, something like that. It's been a fun ride, very fun ride. Today, I do not have my co-host, Mr. Vincent Orlek. He got pulled into a last-minute tour at his office. I guess they had some visitors coming in, and so I'm flying solo today. But the good news is I have my good friend Eileen Smith on as well on this show. So hopefully she's going to jump in, and we're going to have a great show for you. And like I said, this is the social chatter blab. Basically, my goal is to give you what's new, what's hot in social media marketing from the past week. I try to share between 3 and 5 tips and 3 and 5 tools. Today we've got three tips, but they're 3 really great tips. I think we'll have a lot of great dialogue on. Can you guys hear me okay out there? If you can, just give me some props here. So if you are following along and you do have questions, you can always tweet me. My Twitter handle is at Social Chefs. That is my Twitter handle for my business. You can also tweet me at CKROKS. That's my personal handle. And use the hashtag Social Chatter. So good evening, Eileen. How are you doing?
Hey, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Hey, how are you today?
Doing great. I know we had a little Vincent, my buddy, Mr. Vincent Orlick wasn't able to join today, but, we're going to do the show without him. And, and I think we got some really great topics today.
Oh, great.
So let me get all these up. Let me actually get all these pulled up. I'm going to actually put a couple of links here in the chat real quick. And by the way, for everybody watching, we try to keep this to about 30 minutes. This way, everybody, try to give you the best information in the shortest amount of time. So with that, I'm going to start off with topic number 1, by the way. And I know you probably followed most of the things that are going on this week in social media, right?
Sort of. There was so much happening this week, Christian. I'm like, I need to just, catch my breath. So I'm here so you can fill me in on whatever it is I missed.
Well, I definitely want to start off. I'm going to start off with the Facebook update. Like I said, I got 3 updates today. And if you got anything you want to add, feel free to jump in and add some additional things. But the first thing is Facebook has launched a new notes feature for Facebook pages. I would love to give everybody a link to this, but coincidentally, I was just actually writing a note up and I did not have the new feature. It was there and then it just disappeared. And I've gone back in and it's kind of, I'm wondering if they're just testing it right now, but you can get to this on your Facebook page. Very simple, just by going to your Facebook page. And then if you go to the more section, there is a drop down and you may see the notes automatically there. If you don't, you can select manage tabs. And then there's an option there where you can go in and click on the Notes app to add it. And it's pretty neat. Basically, it's going to give you the same notes feature you have on profiles. I
didn't get it yet.
Didn't get it, huh? Really?
Okay, so I go to the More tab, right? This is the one that's directly underneath my banner, right?
Correct. Yes, underneath your cover photo. Yes.
And I don't see it in that list, but then you said click the Manage tabs.
Correct.
Link. And I click that and I don't see anything that says notes.
So if you don't see it there, do you see an option at the bottom that says add or remove tabs?
Oh yeah, I do. You're right. I do see that. Okay.
So let's go one step further and
Yep, I see it now. Okay, good. All right, I wasn't following directions. Okay, I'm glad we went over that. So
it's a little bit tricky, actually, and I do want to let everybody know. I actually am going to have a video. Actually, just filmed the video earlier today. I'm going to have that video ready for everybody tomorrow, with basically instructions on how this works and a lot of the little nitpick things about it because I did some playing around with it. It's pretty neat.
Because the last note that I left because now that I've added the tab, I can see some old notes that are in there. July 19th, 2011.
Well, in a way, they basically have revamped the notes section, but
Right.
a lot of people, I don't think a lot of people actually know it's there because it is way, way, way buried.
Okay, so was it officially released this
It
week?
was officially released. Yeah, they did release it this week. They announced that they were updating it and that they were releasing it 4 pages. Profiles had this feature. You probably used it maybe a little bit, but it's really neat actually. So the function of it, obviously, is to be able to add notes, or in this case, I would almost call them like blog posts to your Facebook page. And like I said, I did some playing around with this earlier. It's pretty neat because anytime I write something, it will show up automatically in the news feed. So when I write it on my Facebook page, I publish the note, it shows up nicely right there as an update, which is pretty cool. I think overall, the one thing that I'm a little hesitant on, I guess, on this feature is how much, it's great that we can take notes on a Facebook page. I don't personally do it very much. I personally prefer to blog over on my own site. And that's because I know I can get search traffic off of it. I know that I can, link out from different things such as, videos and podcasts and whatnot that we have going on. I'm not sure how useful this is going to be because how many people, I think for some businesses who don't want to start a blog, they're going to probably go into notes and just create their stuff there. They're nice. You can format them. You get basic formatting. You get, your headers, header 1, header 2, your typical alignments. Pretty awesome. But I'm not so sure that this is going to really replace me as a business having my own blog on my own site. What are your thoughts on that?
I think this is a great place. I agree with you 100%, first of all, but I think this is a great place to do almost like what we're doing here. Mm-hmm. You're doing a roundup, but this is where you're going to do your own roundup. Mm-hmm. So you can use the notes instead of everyday postings, everything that you did on your page. You can use this as the roundup, especially for folks like Christian and I who are creating a lot of content. Like I'm doing a blog, I'm doing a YouTube, I'm doing podcast, I'm doing all these blabs. Mm-hmm. And, I don't want to post every time I'm on blab. Like right now, I'm literally posting this in my Facebook group as we speak, right? I only stop typing to answer Christian's question. But, to have this notes feature, I think one idea that we can use is to do a roundup. And, it could also be not just everything that you've done over the week, mm-hmm. over the course of the week, but stuff like this, like news. This is something that really cool that just happened or whatever. And then maybe you could even mix that in. So almost, if anything, it might replace some ways people use newsletters. Mm-hmm. And because, everybody that's on your Facebook page is not on your list.
Absolutely.
And if you have a newsletter, and a lot of people they think newsletters are boring, but if you're doing it on your page as a notes in a newsletter, I think that gives it a little bit more impact because people they'll come to know that maybe every week, every Monday, every Friday or whatever, you're going to have like the roundup. This is all the hot stuff. Mm-hmm. Like my friend Anna Hoffman, I was just talking to her earlier over on Google+.
Right.
She does that marketing skinny, mm-hmm. every Saturday. So maybe this is a place where you could do your weekly every, get people in the habit of coming there to find out what's going on. So it just basically be links with little brief descriptions. That way you don't have to spend too much time. You're repurposing your content and you're also putting out, something cool for your fans.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's actually interesting, and I've actually, in addition to that post that I'm doing on, the video on how this whole thing works, basically, a big guide on it. I've got some other really awesome stuff going on as well that I'm going to be working on in conjunction with this. I'm going to hope to have that out probably next week, but I think it's going to be one of those things that, if you're a user, you're going to have to really play around with this and kind of see how it's going to how it can work for you. Because, as you mentioned, maybe you want to do a recap post. It's fairly robust. It does make me wonder, is Facebook going to get into maybe doing some search marketing off of this? Because they do have, if you're writing blog post, your H1 tag, that's, you want that for your keyword, you want it in your H2 tag, you want it in your body, and that sort of stuff. And I'm wondering if this may be, a precursor to something like that. That, and not to mention, if Facebook wants to get people to stay within their site more, you know how they did that with video. When you upload native videos to Facebook, you got better reach versus, sharing something off of YouTube. Maybe this will be, a way for them to also encourage people to post more on Facebook. In a way, it's not good because they're diminishing reach, I guess, in a way. They're saying, hey, you know what? Like right now, if you pay us, we'll show your ads to more people, or we'll show your content to more people. They kind of put people into a corner, like, hey, if you upload your video natively, we will give it, higher reach versus using YouTube. Maybe they're going to do that with Facebook Notes. I'm not sure. But it will be a fascinating development, to kind of see how this is going to work.
That sounds kind of something that I heard, because I listen to a ton of podcasts, so I'm not sure where I heard this, but that they are going to be beefing up search within the Facebook platform. So, that maybe these notes will be it. Do you know, speaking of these notes, at the top, you can put a hero image, like this Y image. Do you know the optimal image size for that?
I was playing around with that earlier, actually, and I haven't been able to figure it out. I got a couple of different sizes on how it worked. I definitely think it's rectangular, but I got, like I said, I got a bunch of different ones. I got one that was, like 1200, and then I got one that was like 1000 or something. So I'm not really, not sure exactly on that one yet, but I'll have that one shortly.
Okay. Yeah. Cause I know my friend Dustin Stout, he always has the optimal social media image sizes, but I don't know if he updated with this, because this thing just happened this week. So.
And this is also one of those things. I don't know. He may not have even, that may not be something that they put out because, it's a Facebook, it's a note inside of a Facebook page. It's kind of, to most people pretty minor, but I think it's actually a major thing because you want to make sure you put an image up that looks great.
Right. Absolutely. You don't want to be cut off.
No, absolutely. And you want to, so you want to, it's like if you're putting a cover photo up, you want to make sure, that it fits within those boundaries and it looks good. So, but I will have that stuff, here shortly, and we can get all that information out to everybody. So, so with that topic, I'm going to switch gears here now. Topic number 2, Twitter has a new type of ad that they're running. This one is conversational ads, and they're basically trying to get you as trying to get you to use their ads to reach brands. So to get you to tweet about brands. So basically it's a way to prompt responses to questions and get people to share stuff and whatnot. And on that link I shared, here's an example from the Barista Bar, which coffee blend is right for you, our house blend or our premium dark roast. And it's, in a way, it's almost like a cross between polls and Twitter ads. So Twitter polls and Twitter ads, because, if you look at the example, they've given you, tweet house blend versus tweet hashtag dark roast. So, it's another mechanism for them to get people tweeting more, and also obviously paying more to get, more exposure on Twitter. Me personally, I don't use Twitter ads. I use them, in B2B. They work pretty well. I don't know. Is this something that's going to get you excited? I mean, are you excited about Twitter conversational ads?
Well, I can definitely see why a brand would be interested, but for somebody like us, I don't see that, because let's say I am interested. Like there's 2 on that page. That the first one is the one you mentioned, and then there's one from Lifetime TV, who won the battle, Highland Voices. That's a hashtag, or hashtag Stay Tuned. Okay, I have no idea what either one of those shows are or what that is they're talking about. So how do I get to it? So at this point, because there's no link there, because it's a poll, really. Yeah,
exactly. And, it's a poll. Yeah,
it's good for folks that are already familiar with that. Now, do I want to do that for myself, or Christian, would you want to do that for yourself? Not really. I want you to get off of Twitter.
I mean, I think if you're going to run, these in conjunction with maybe say a TV ad or something, having people tweeting certain things, maybe on your, maybe if you're watching a show and it pops a hashtag on TV, maybe there's also a link possibly that shows up that, tells people, hey, head on over to, whatever their domain URL is / whatever, and, and vote for your favorite or something. Almost like you can, I would almost see these being something like maybe you're going to run these like with the, let's say it's the Grammys or something. Who's your favorite artist or something, or who should win, best new artist? Maybe they could have like a hashtag or something, like a hashtag campaign, I guess, tied to this, to where somebody, watching, almost like, remember American Idol when it was like, hey, text whatever to, whatever to vote for, like,
you can just do that to
maybe
vote.
run them that way. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's why I said for big brands, I think it kind of may make some sense, but for small businesses and entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, not too sure. But
No.
I think I mentioned this in the last time I joined you on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter is searching so bad; they're just trying to find themselves so bad, and it's just like you almost feel sorry for Twitter. But there's other news about Twitter that I'm hoping you're going to get.
And I'm very certain we are going to be talking about that one here shortly, because I think that it sort of ties into what we're talking about now. But we'll get there in a second. So let's see if anybody has any questions here. By the way, welcome to who do we have here? Let's name it. Let's see. We've got Gabriel Howard. Welcome to this episode of Social Chatter. My name is Christian Karasevich. You can follow me at CKROKS, and I've got my good friend Eileen Smith here as well. At what is it, Eileen? Right?
Right, you got it.
So we've got Gabrielle here. We got Betty here. Thanks for joining. A number of other people here as well. So thank you so much for joining on this episode. We really appreciate it. So let's see. So topic 1, Facebook notes. Topic 2, what do we got? Topic 2 was conversational ads. Mm-hmm. Topic 3 is a big one. This is we talked about Twitter's kind of, in a way, it's kind of a mess. Topic 3, Twitter is talking about, or there's a rumor going around that Twitter is going to be increasing the character count, not from 140 characters to like 200 to 10,000 characters, which is pretty nuts.
You like that idea?
And I got a couple of links here, by the way, for everybody. So
okay.
Okay, so the first one is,
your keyboard is really, when you're typing, is really kind of loud.
Oh, really? Okay, I'll work on that. So
move your mic away, or your mic stand away from it.
Yeah, we're about a foot or so away right now. So topic 3, 10,000 character count increase on Twitter. That's a lot of characters. And if you want to see what that looks like, this is what 10,000 characters looks like.
That's like
do it
a blog post.
It is really, really, really lengthy.
Yeah, it's not a blogging, that's for sure.
It's going to go to a blog post, but it's going to go to a very, very, very long blog post.
It's going to be really hard to keep up with your news feed.
I mean, they're definitely going to, they're going to have it where they're going to condense everything as small as possible. Remember how they changed where, like, when you got a lot of engagement on a tweet, they would show bigger text?
Oh.
I'm wondering, like, I guess they're going to still keep that maybe, and then make you have to click to read it. Mm-hmm. That's pretty nuts, because that's a lot of characters. I mean, 10,000.
There was a service one time called Tweet Longer.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't even know if they're still around. I never see people using it. The folks I follow don't use it anymore. If it is still around, it may not even be around anymore, because it wasn't that effective. People weren't clicking on it to tweet longer. I mean, basically they are changing the whole concept of Twitter.
Right. Absolutely. So here's the thing. Do you think 10,000 characters is too long?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, in other words, we have a ton of places that we can, write like that. I mean, and maybe Medium, or, your Google Plus, Facebook. It doesn't go over that well if you try to type something that long. Maybe with these Facebook notes, that would be a little bit different. But Twitter is supposed to be for short, snappy, snack-sized tweets. So then you're going to have this all mixed in. You're going to have, here's this super long thing, and then here's this short, I don't know. I just think it's bizarre.
I'm not sure. I wonder where did this number come from? Because, going from 140 to 10,000 is crazy.
It is crazy.
I mean, could you have just maybe gone from 140 to 500?
500. I could.
I mean, 300, 500.
Yeah.
Yes, just a little bit of a bump, But I mean, they went from this to this. I mean,
yeah, enough to get that call to action in there.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point. I mean, it really comes down to what's their overall strategy going to be with this? Because if I'm increasing the tweet count or the length of a tweet, I've got so many other places that I can put content right now, and mainly you should be putting it on your own blog. So you should be putting it on your own blog. And then I guess now let's look at these topics today. We talked about Facebook notes for Facebook pages. Am I supposed to, write it on my blog and then put it on my Facebook page, as a new note there? And then, maybe I'll just take the whole thing and put it into a tweet. You've got those tools. You've got Medium. You've got LinkedIn post. Is this just another way for Twitter to keep up with the other social networks? I kind of get the feeling that a lot of the sites are piggybacking off of one another. It's like if one feature or one site adds one thing, then the other site has to add something just kind of keep up with the Joneses, I guess. What's your take on that? Do you think that people should be, let's just say Twitter increases this 10,000. Should you be blogging and putting a tweet out that's 10,000 characters? What kind of approach would you take?
Well, honestly, if they actually do this, okay, we're all going to have to test it to see what happens, So I'm not going to sit here and say, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go and copy and paste one of my blog posts and put it on Twitter. Maybe I'll do an old one, just to put it on there, just to see, what happens. But it's not only going to change Twitter, it's also going to change all the tools. Because let's face it, most people don't use the Twitter website. We're using
absolutely right.
We're using Hootsuite, we're using TweetDeck, and especially for folks like us who are into social media, okay? But for folks that are going to Twitter just to get news, they're more so looking to get a link to their local news site, or let's just say something happens, like there's a fire or there's an earthquake or whatever. You go to Twitter, you want to get the news. You just want to get a little snippet of it on Twitter. So this is going to change your whole mindset. So then there's going to have to be another platform that comes out to replace this little short snippet thing. So, I just think that Twitter is really, and I keep saying this, they are so desperately trying to find their way that they are almost at the point of trying anything. So now let's think. You can put 4 images. We already have that. And let's assume they're not going to take that away, which I think 4 is too many, but that's what it is now. So you can put 4 images and you can put all these characters. So of course that means you can put links, because you can put links now. So really they're just saying, come now and blog on Twitter. Okay, so if we're doing all this, then where are we going to promote? Because we're blogging here, we're blogging there, we're blogging there, we're blogging there.
Yep.
It just changes the whole mindset. It changes the whole approach that we are going to have to take. And so it's a game changer for sure if they do it that way. I'm hoping that they don't. But
I really hope that this is just one of those things that they were just testing, that's just being tested out, and that, that they're not going to consider doing this, because I think it's just kind of crazy. I mean, I think everybody's honestly trying to really play the same game. Every one of these sites wants users. They want data. They want to, they're getting away, I feel, from what they truly are in some sense. Because if I'm for instance, like Twitter here, my business, I was in social, my business initially started off as like, hey, it's a social network. It's a place to connect with people and let people, promote stuff and whatnot. And now in a way they're going into like, hey, we're going to build some sort of like a blogging platform or something, basically, or we're going to tie all these tools together and give you, something like that. And it's interesting because all of these sites are doing this, but then what do you have all of the other social media pros talking about? They all talk about the same thing, which is don't build your house on rented land. And you're basically doing that with Facebook, with Twitter, with any of these sites, and that's where you should have a home base. You should have a blog that you work off of, and you use the social channels to promote versus the opposite, which is, hey, everybody go put all your stuff on these sites. We want to control the internet. So I'm interested to see where this one goes. I mean, there's a ton of people that are saying, hey, I don't want this. I mean, and you know how it goes. I mean, people say, hey, I don't want this. And, you're going to have people say, hey, I don't want this. And maybe when they use it, they might like it. But I think it's just way too many characters. So we got Nathal. How do I say that? Natalie?
I think it's just Natalie. I'm pretty sure. But and Candy just came in too. And Natalie's saying, no, you ever read that? You know? And Candy's like, welcome to the internet. Because Candy, I met Candy on Google Plus. And so you got to be able to roll with the punches, guys. And so if they do this, definitely test and see if it works. It's going to be a shock to everybody's system, not just folks that do have a blog or do have something to promote or sell. Just for the everyday user is also going to be a big shock in the way they not only consume content, but the content that they're sharing. So I don't think it's a great idea for Twitter to do this because I feel like they're losing their identity and everybody's going to be competing to do the same thing. Like we've been saying here, Medium wants you to blog there. LinkedIn wants you to blog there. Facebook now wants you to blog there. But you have a blog. Well, most of my friends, because I'm a blogger, you have a blog or you have a website. And if you have all this stuff that you want to say and that you want to talk about, you really should be posting it on your site first. If you want to, you can post it on those other sites later. But it's worrisome for me that, like I said, that Twitter just can't seem to find their way. They just can't seem. They had an identity that was good. There was a place where people go for news. Yeah. Putting this 10,000 character thing in, that's kind of not really like what people expect.
No, unless they've got some sort of, who knows, maybe they'll roll out a partnership. I mean, I think everyone is expecting them at some point to get bought by Google. I think that makes the most sense because, it folds nicely into Google search. I love when I can search for something on Twitter and it will pop up like a tweet automatically at the top or the latest tweets, and I can find what I need, not just the account, but their latest tweets. I think that's handy. So maybe this is part of the bigger picture. Who knows? But I mean, it's interesting that you get Facebook rolling out their piece, you get Twitter rolling out, or supposedly testing this 10,000 character thing. I know if you look back on the pieces that we've talked about over the last few weeks, the changes to how they crop images, the changes to how they are allowing, if you upload multiple images, how they kind of give you like a little photo book there. Those I think are going to be possibly players in all of this. Maybe they'll put them all together and give you something really awesome. So who knows? But you're absolutely right. Definitely getting away from their identity. But I'm not sure why that's happening. So we'll kind of see how that works in the in the coming weeks, months, whenever they make this announcement, right?
Well, yeah. Natalie's asking, do we expect Facebook to follow? We were just one of the first news pieces that Christian brought to the show today was how they are releasing notes for pages now. So, Christian, did you know how many characters Facebook is allowing on those notes? I was going to ask you that.
I'm actually going to go test something right now. I'm going to go to that blog post that I have that has 10,000 characters.
Yeah.
And I'm going to see if that will actually, that's a good question. I actually did not.
I've never seen anybody talk about how many characters there were. But Natalie, actually, Facebook is leading on that front because Facebook's already done it. They've already made notes available for people's profiles, and it must be rolling out. You can. That's okay, Natalie. No problem. I would think it was a great question.
Yeah, it's absolutely a great question.
I think you can even go to your Facebook page now and test to see if you have the access to the notes, and you just can watch the replay to see exactly how to do that.
Okay, so I'm going to see.
Kristen's going to do a video. He's going to put up.
Yeah, I've actually got the video. I just have to do a little bit of editing on it and put it out. So, and I'll have that. By the way, if you're Natalie, if you're actually on my email list, you can either get it there, or actually, I'll give you the link to my blog and my YouTube channel because they'll both be there as well.
Yeah.
So just pay attention to. There's my blog, and then also. I'll give you the YouTube channel as well. So
it's funny because I went to WordCamp US, which was here in Philadelphia, and everybody was so fired up. And this news that had come out like not too long before WordCamp about 25% of the sites in the world running on WordPress. Okay, and so it's almost like. We always think about Facebook fighting against Google and but it almost seems like everybody's going for WordPress right now. Yeah. We also think, okay, we got to keep it on our site, but it's like they're not thinking about us.
No,
they're thinking about work. They're saying, oh my goodness, this blogging thing is really something. Maybe we should let people blog on our platform.
And that is actually that's a really interesting point because I mentioned this a minute ago, but when you start to bring people they're trying, in a way, all these sites, like you said, they're trying to become like the keeper of everything. It's going to be really interesting because I'm actually wondering, are the sites even getting away from every site, are they getting away from their identity? Because if I am, if I'm a user, I think if I'm a heavy user, I'm not going to be interested in some of the stuff. I mean, yeah, I'm going to go publish stuff, and whatnot, but I'm not going to be interested in the sense that I'm not going to put all of my eggs in one basket and just publish on one place. I'm also going to probably be a little strategic maybe about what I publish and where I publish it. Maybe taking the full post, putting it on my site and putting like an excerpt maybe on my Facebook page or something on Twitter, Twitter's 10,000 character count or something. I'm interested though in just kind of seeing how this is going to play out because you have the users, the heavy users that are saying, hey, put your stuff on, put it on your own site, and you have all the other people at the site saying, hey, we want everybody to come here. So this is going to be really, really, really interesting.
And news that we had, or that you had, Christian, a couple of weeks ago or before the holiday, we were talking about Twitter hiding those share counts. So I think this all has something to do with it. And like I was saying, we're mostly using third-party apps to look at Twitter. Not mostly, but most of the social media people are using third-party apps like Hootsuite and TweetDeck and so forth to really monitor our Twitter. And so maybe they're just trying to get people back on Twitter, and they remember Twitter brought Periscope. And they may be saying, wow, this long form content has got something going here, because look at how long these people stay sitting watching somebody on Periscope or just watching different Periscopes all day long. So it's just really interesting. So
let's I'll give you one last thought on this, and then we're going to jump into some tools. So could they possibly, you made a really interesting point there. Could they possibly let's just say you take Periscope. Could they maybe have it, like for instance, like I'm using Blab, like we know live streaming is the tool for the year, or live streaming is going to be huge in 2016. Had a lot of people ask me about predictions, and that was, live streaming everywhere. That was my prediction. Could they maybe be taking all these little pieces, and maybe they would have a way to incorporate, a Blab, like for instance, Blab, to take Periscope and put it in that 10,000 count or something. To have it where like you're essentially building this huge.
You could watch Periscope on Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
or maybe it's, I can read your post and then, maybe I can have access to, a Periscope or something inside that note. Who knows?
So, that makes more sense than some of the other things that we were just talking about earlier. But, I always got to keep that in mind, that one thing they do got going for them is Periscope. and I heard that there's some changes coming to Periscope, which I can't remember right now, but maybe you have them in your list somewhere.
I've got that. Those are actually all of the topics that I have for today. I have a couple more. I have some more actually, but I wanted to spend the time, mainly on the Facebook Notes piece, and then obviously I think the Twitter piece, because I think they're all interrelated.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the other minor stuff, we had one other thing. Oracle, for instance, bought a company called AddThis, which is a social sharing.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yep.
I have a tutorial for AddThis, and I stopped using AddThis because of some of the tracking and some of the I don't know. I felt like they were kind of stealing people's thunder in a way.
Mm-hmm.
If people didn't know better, when you would share something from AddThis, they would have their, that it was being shared from AddThis and not your, which I thought, okay, it's a plugin. I'm installing it on my blog.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you taking my tweet from me? But they do have some demographics. They would track people. You could go into AddThis, and like I said, I had a YouTube tutorial that showed this, I want to say 3 years ago. And shortly after I made that video, I stopped using it, but I didn't want to tell everybody, hey, don't watch the video, because people watch that video. And you can get all kinds of the same kind of demographics that you see in Google Analytics now, where you can see like how much money people make, what other kinds of sites they visit besides yours, because AddThis was installed on so many blogs. And that's kind of the reason why I took it off. I just felt like some things were kind of like borderline, not really too cool.
Yeah, I've always suggested people not use AddThis just because I didn't, I've been using it for a long time. I mean, like I said, I've been this 9-10 years now. And at first, I started out with it because I was like, hey, it's there, it's, good. But then I completely switched away from it. And I recommend basically, everyone else who was using it to switch away as well, because I didn't like what they were doing with the tracking data. That was definitely not cool. And I also was not fond of the fact that they were adding their social media. Like if you were sharing a tweet or something, they were always adding their handle, and I didn't like that, because
I don't like that either.
if I'm tweeting something from like your blog or my blog or whoever's blog it is, I want their handle. I don't want AddThis.
Right. So, Christian, Natalie's not finding your sign up form. So
I'm actually giving her a link. Actually, I was doing some updates to my site this week, and
you moved some things around. See,
yeah, it might have actually
for a link to the form.
So I'll have you sign up here, Natalie. If you go off to the sidebar on the site, there's on the right, there will be there's a newsletter sign up. You should see that.
I wanted to say hi to John Overall and hi to Jennifer. Great to see you guys.
So by the way, with this thing with Oracle buying this, it also is a little fascinating because over the years, Oracle has actually been buying up a lot of different social properties. They bought up a number of landing page tab companies at some point. We all know what happened with those. Those kind of just disappeared, or they're still there, but not really useful. Most people aren't doing that anymore. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I mean, do they, what is Oracle actually going to do? Are they going to just bring it in house? Because I never saw anything come back out when they bought the landing page companies. So.
Oh, well, Jen said that she's new to Blab, so I gave her the link to my Blab cheat sheet. And John, overall, you may want to check that out as well. It's just a Google Doc that just shows you some basics of how to set up a Blab and some other little tips. Yay. Oh, you saw it. Okay, cool. All right.
Very awesome.
Well, Oracle, I don't think people realize how huge Oracle, the guy that owns Oracle owns like his own islands. And I mean, like, Oracle is huge. Well, the reason why I pay attention to Oracle sometimes is because at work, that's the software that we use for our warehousing and all that, because I work for a technical book publisher and all the order processing. And so all day long, we curse at Oracle. Takes forever to load. Believe it or not, we have to run it on Internet Explorer. Yeah, Internet Explorer. So,
I don't even use that one anymore.
Right, exactly. And the only reason why we have it is because that's how the database or the system, this Oracle, what they call it, e-business and anyway. So, I started at work. It would just be a thing. I was always whining about Oracle. So then I would hear Oracle and I'm like, you know what? I need to pay attention to this company. And then I was listening to a podcast because, like I said, I'm a big podcast fan. And they were talking to the guy who's like, or they were talking about him, not to him. And I found out that he owns all these islands. I mean, like, he is mega rich.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I think it was also sort of about getting in at the right time as well. I mean, they got in a long time ago. And, and obviously as that's built up over time and some of these companies have, started to work together and whatnot, that's where they kind of have developed, they built their clout and whatnot. So let me actually read this question here.
From Jen.
Question. I would say that it's actually, it kind of varies actually. It's not really that bad. I mean, I have pretty fast internet where I'm at. You do need, it is live streaming. I would say any live streaming you're using, Jen, it does take up, a significant amount. I mean, what you probably want to do if you're going to do something like that, make sure, here's the thing, close a bunch of tabs. For those of us that have 20 tabs open, get down to, a handful, like 3 to 5 at the most.
Don't have anything else running on your computer, especially you don't have like Photoshop open or anything like that. And try to get as close to Wi-Fi signal as possible. And if you can not be on Wi-Fi, if you can be wired somehow, do that. All those things help. But there is a lot of Australians here on Blab. So depending upon where you are in Australia, you may find some of your neighbors here on Blab because there's a ton.
Yeah. So so if you're gonna do that, I think that, let's see, you said hosting a series of Blabs. Okay. I would probably, here's the thing, I would probably do the first one, see how it goes. Ask your audience while you're doing the Blab. Ask them if they, by the way, okay. I would ask them, if they're having any issues seeing you or hearing you, because what does end up happening when you do run video on your device or on your desktop or laptop, it does, it sucks up bandwidth, but at the same time, if your audio is really poor, it'll start cutting in and out on people. If the video connection is not strong enough, it will actually cut out and it will just go to audio. So it does kind of help you in a way, but if your goal is to be on camera, obviously, it doesn't help there. So just make sure you close down as many apps as you can. And if you've got enough RAM in your device or your computer or whatnot, try to put as much RAM in as possible, because that's for, that's typically, that helps you open programs, large programs or whatnot, and, keep things running optimally. So, so good luck with your Blab, by the way. And if you, when you do that, if you want to send us a link, feel free to do that. And that way we can try to pop on if we're available.
As a matter of fact, if you don't mind me mentioning, next week is Podcast Fan Day on Wednesday. So I'm going to be hosting from 6 p.m. Eastern for Podcast Fan Day. So it's going to be like a bunch of shows that day. So if anybody wants to come give fan appreciation, or I'll give you guys fan appreciation actually on the Podcast Fan Day, which is the Wednesday the 13th, and I'll be here at 6 p.m. But yeah, Jen, if you want to call in now, feel free to take a seat and we'll kind of see how it goes. And when you do that, I'm going to jump into the 3 tools that I have for this week. So feel free to call in. And I'm just going to start on the tools. So here are 3 tools. So for those of you who are new here, basically, what I do is I also pull a number of tools. I'm a tools guy, love tools. And so I try to pull some of the best tools that are out, whether they're apps or, just plugins or whatnot, to help you with your social media marketing, to help you on your mobile device. And so here are those tools. Okay, what you got for us?
So tool number 1, we have a tool called, and I'm not really sure how to pronounce this. It's called Q.
Q, yes. Actually, Kara from Right to Right from Australia told me about that tool on Blab about 2 weeks ago, and I signed up for it.
And by the way, so I'm gonna go into what this is in a second, but let me pull Jen in here, or Jennifer. Let's see how her connection is. And it does take a
If this is your first time, you have there
you go.
Hi guys.
Hey,
oh my God, you sound great. You look great.
Oh,
As long as everything can stay right where it is, your show is going to be a smash hit.
You got good lighting.
Pardon?
Good. You have very good lighting.
Oh, great. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, thank you for your advice. I just, because it is the first time and I'm very excited about what Blab can do. So yeah, I just wanted to see what it was like. And yeah, it is. It's pretty.
I've been here for 170 some days. I'm still excited.
Still excited.
You're very welcome. You know, I like to help people, and you know, I know it can be hard for people that are just getting started with Blab or any live streaming service. So
I'm sort of quite nervous about doing it, but I know that with what I'm wanting to do on Blab, I've chosen Blab because I think it's a great interactive platform, and I'm going to be doing it.
Excuse me, Jen, we can still hear you, but we can't see you. And
you know what? That would be my internet connection then. So isn't that interesting?
But usually it'll say, are you seeing open seat, Christian? Because
I'm not actually. Usually it will show the box and it'll just show the audio meter.
Okay, it's called ghosting. Robin's in the chat saying it's ghosting, and so I'm not sure if it is because of your internet or not. You might want to just try to refresh and just see if you come back, because that's awfully strange. Usually it'll say poor signal, but you'll still see like a little logo up there that says poor connection, but it wasn't even showing that. Okay, so the tools.
So tool number one is Q. Put that there in the chat actually for everybody. And so this is the thing. This is a tool for content curation. And for those of you, for instance, like I'm a huge Buffer user, like Buffer, I like Hootsuite, prefer Buffer over Hootsuite. But basically, this is a way to select categories that you're interested in. It will then give you curated content that you can then incorporate into Buffer. And then once you've done that, then you can also move it around your Buffer queue and whatnot. So basically, it's a way to say, hey, I'm interested in these topics. It gives you suggestions, and you can fill up your Buffer queue so that you have updates going out about your industry whenever you're not available. So it's a pretty good tool. From a pricing standpoint, just give you all some insight into that. It's free for curated content for up to 2 posts per day. You can refer friends. You can have up to 5 interest categories. So I think 5 is actually pretty generous. It's $10 a month after that for up to 10 posts a day, unlimited interest categories, and you get a daily email review. So not bad. I would probably recommend everyone, if you want to start off with the free version, give it a try and see how it works for you as a business owner. See what kind of results they give you, because I've tried some of the curation tools for, there were, Hootsuite has had something out. Buffer has had something out. Who else am I forgetting here? What's the one? Do what?
Clout.
Clout. Yeah. Clout's got one. There's another, there's a tool I used to use. What was it?
Well, there's some really excellent ones.
What was it? Hashtag tool.
Right Tag.
Right. Yeah.
Right Tag. Saul is here on Blab. He's one of my buddies here on on Blab. But really, Scoop It is one of the best as far as content curation. But I wouldn't put that in the same genre as Q, because Q is more like it doesn't show you a stream of curated content. Like Scoop It is also like a community where you're following people and you're seeing content they're curating as well. Q is a more like a set it and forget it kind of tool where you say to Q, hey, serve me up some content for cooking recipes. And it's going to put them in your Buffer. And it'll send you an email to say, yep, we put some stuff in your Buffer. If you want to check it before it goes live, go and see. So you don't really go there and look at content. Right. Just picks content for you, which is what I do.
So I would say, and here's the thing. I mentioned this at the beginning. I've used Hootsuite's suggestion tools. I've used Buffer, this tool as well. They have, I'd say that, the sources are okay in most cases. You are going to want to play around with them, see what categories, what interests you pick up, and what kinds of things they recommend. Because a lot of times, what you'll end up with is you will end up with a lot of services saying, hey, we're going to give you some suggestions, and they give you, stuff that you're not really interested in, or the selection is very, very limited. So make sure you spend some time on that and test that out. So let me actually
it's fun to check in because it can save you some time, especially if you're not super duper picky. It depends upon your topic. Like one of the topics that I signed up for was quotes. And I thought the experience was going to be different, but it still was okay. They sent links to articles with quotes in them. I thought it was going to give me quotes.
That would be cool.
But it didn't. It gave me links to articles with quotes. And believe it or not, before I realized it, because it was a couple of days before I actually read their emails, I looked, and I was using it for my work account. I wasn't even using it for my own account. And there was like 4 retweets, which is good for that account because I only have like 1,000 followers. So actually, I got good engagement off of. So it depends upon where you are with your account. Especially if you're somebody who's just really growing your social account, and you may not have a ton of followers, having that queue turned on where you just set it and forget it is just one less thing you have to worry about in the course of a day. I would highly recommend it.
And I would say if you are going to use a tool such as one of these, you do want to be careful of automating everything. You don't really want to automate everything. You want to try to be in the moment there, and and share things that are relevant, and be very judicious about what you're picking to share, because just because you say, hey, I like this interest, and you get a whole bunch of stuff that it might be good content but not related to your network, it's not doing its job at that point. So make sure you spend some time there. By the way, Jen, if you need to, no worries about calling back in, but if you want to jump back on later on, just let me know. So I'll put a link in here so you can do that. So with that, I'm going to actually move into tool number 2. And actually, it actually is interesting because it kind of segues into this. You talked about, a site about quotes and whatnot. Tool number 2 is, and I'm kind of sticking with the buffer theme here, actually. Tool number 2 is the Pablo extension for Google Chrome. For those of you who have been using Buffer is, it's a great tool for setting up your social media dashboard and whatnot for content being shared on your networks. They have a new tool. It's called Pablo. It's a free tool. It lets you, basically you can create images. So you can upload your own image and create images to put into Buffer. Pretty simple. This new feature, though, the new extension is nice because I can go to a blog, any sort of website, whatever. I can right click on an image, or I can actually, once I install this, I can hover over the image on the site and it will give me a Pablo extension on the image. I click it and I can now open it inside the Pablo app. Again, it's free. And then I can go in and add some text to it or whatnot. So it's pretty neat. That's the extension, Natalie. That's the extension. I don't know if you have the. Do you have the Pablo? Do you have the actual Pablo app? If not, you can get that at. I think it's like. Let me see what it is. I get a link for you.
I actually did a video about Pablo, but it was before they added the extension. But still, just to give you an idea how Pablo works with the quotes. And now they also added, you can have Facebook size images. Well, it was always, you could use them on Twitter, Facebook, but now also they have the square, which is great for Instagram.
Yeah. And
they have the Pinterest size. When it first came out, and you'll see in that video, I don't talk about Pinterest because they didn't add that, but now it's the same philosophy of how you actually make the quote, but now they just added those images and kind of made the dashboard a little bigger now. And with the, extension, it just makes it super simple. Like Christian said, just grab an image. Now that is a definite, I would give that 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up for apps for Pablo.
Pablo, yes. Well, I'm a big, like you said, I use Hootsuite and Buffer too, and I'm a bigger Buffer fan than I am Hootsuite. I like Hootsuite, and what you can do in Hootsuite you can't do on Buffer, which is monitor your Twitter stream. You can't do that in Buffer.
And I'm waiting, by the way, I'm waiting for Buffer, or not waiting, but I'm hoping at some point that Buffer will add some of that functionality maybe at some point, I think that it's like I like Hootsuite for certain things, but I like the user interface for Buffer. I also think that it's a little easier to use. It's not very confusing. With Buffer or with Hootsuite, you get so many tabs and streams and whatnot set up that it can make it tough to monitor the conversations. But I have also been working with some new tools in Hootsuite, so I think hopefully we'll start to see some healthy competition.
So. Honestly, Christian, I gotta kind of not disagree with you, but I gotta put my 2 cents in here. Sure. I don't think that Buffer would expand out the functionality so that we would, and this is where I'm so concerned about Twitter and what they're doing with this 10,000 character thing. Buffer knows how to stay in their lane. They did add Pablo, and that was kind of like, and you had mentioned earlier that they used to have curation. It didn't work. And they tested it maybe for, I don't even think it was a year. I want to say 6-7 months. They tested that. Yeah. It didn't work. They got rid of it. Even no matter how much people were like, no, we were used to, nope, we don't do that anymore, because that's not our thing. Our thing is to, make it so that you can put out your images and your tweets and your Facebook, LinkedIn. They added all those social networks, but so that you can buffer them, so you can put them out in schedules. It integrates with so many other tools. Guys, just to give you a real quick tip, if you are using Buffer, put your Twitter account into Follower Wonk, which is a tool from Moz, and Follower Wonk will evaluate the best times to tweet, and they do a better job of it than Buffer, I think. And then
actually, so with that, so have you actually tried Buffer's tool? Have you tried Buffer's optimal scheduling tool?
Yeah, and I like the Follower Wonk. I think you guys got to test which one actually gives you better results. That's all. And Follower Wonk gave me more tweets, and I could tell that it was being a little bit more scientific, because it put like 5 or 6 tweets at around lunchtime, and I would never think to do that on my own. But I think that the way their algorithms work is a little different. Like Buffer, I'm sorry, Follower Wonk, I think looks more at not just when your followers are online, but when are you getting the most engagement and all that. So I just think the Follower Wonk tool just takes it a little bit to the next level. But you either one you can use and test and see what happens.
And they're both really good tools. I've used Follower Wonk in B2B setting. I know Moz has started to fold a lot of their stuff in, but Follower Wonk is a great tool. I'll put that in here as well for everybody.
Yeah, I heard that they took its own standalone tool now.
Yeah, it was, and then it was then it became part of Moz, and then I guess
now it's back out again.
So there's a link, everyone. I think is that in there? Did that show up?
No, I didn't see it. I mean, maybe it was a little delay because we got new folks coming in. Oh, I forgot to make it snow. Anybody wants to see snow? All you got to do is #LetItSnow. And Blab, another thing we didn't mention about Blab really quickly is the map feature up at the top. Just kind of gives you an idea of where people are on the globe.
By the way, can you share that tip?
Christian, now you're ghosting. Does everybody else not see Christian? Okay. Show takeover. I'm taking over the social chatter. Oh gosh, come back, Kristen, come back. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about Q or Pablo or Buffer or Follower Wonk or any social media things? Because Christian's got one more tool that he's going to share with us. I don't think it was going to be Follower Wonk. I think it's going to be something different. And in the meantime, I'm happy to take any questions that you guys may have.
Okay, I'm back.
Hey.
I'm not really sure what happened there, but that was kind of strange. And by the way, my links finally did show up as well.
Yeah.
So, with that, so I'll give everybody a couple of seconds here as far as, if they have any questions on any of these tools. And if not, you're welcome to reach out to us.
I was asking them for questions while you were going, and you got one more tool to share, right?
One more tool. So tool number 3 for today is, and this is actually kind of neat. So it's, I'm a big gadget guy, and this is it's more of a, for those of us who, for instance, like, do you like to read? For instance, Eileen, do you like to read?
I let my apps read to me.
Okay.
Like big Audible.
Big Audible is an awesome product. So this is actually an app, and it's a neat one. I saw this this week was CES, Consumer Electronics Show, and this is an app. It's called Book Track, and it's pretty neat. It's an interesting concept, actually. So it's for those of you who, if you want, like, let's just say, hey, you know what, 2016, my goal is to read more. A lot of times, when we get into social, like we don't have a lot of time actually to sit down and to like just read a book. And because of that, we have like ADD or whatnot, or, we're bouncing off, from thing to thing. Sometimes, it's about changing kind of how you do things. And so if you find that, hey, it's hard for me to sit down and read because I just don't like sitting down and reading. By the way, I love reading. This app will add a soundtrack to your books. So you can read them digitally, but it adds a soundtrack. And it's interesting because it adds a soundtrack based on how fast you're reading. So they try to give you a soundtrack tied to what you're reading. And then based on how fast you read, almost like, let's say you're watching like Sherlock Holmes or something, and it gets to like a really crucial point, the music always goes up. Well, at this point, they can, if you're reading really quickly, the pace of the music will pick up as well to kind of heighten the suspense, I guess, in a way. So that's actually an app. It's available from iTunes, but it was something that was announced earlier this week, and it's a pretty neat little app. I'd love to see this almost get folded into like using Amazon Kindle, possibly. Maybe get them bought out and then tie it into the Kindle product, because I don't think they're going to have all of the books that people would normally read, but pretty neat little free app. So for those of you who read books, fun little app for you. So with that, by the way, does anybody have any questions before we end this week's session? And if you want to, by the way, you can put there's a question section, so you can put that over on the side. Do it. Do what, Eileen? I didn't hear you.
The CES. Who
Yes.
are you following?
I don't really. I just mainly I follow the hashtags. I mean, I love gadgets. I mean, like cameras and basically all of this stuff. I mean, it's just really fascinating. I mean, that's been some of the big stuff this week, like with apps, and there's also some really cool stuff with like 360-degree cameras, which are going to be really awesome this year. So Nikon's got something coming out, which is pretty neat as well. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, by the way, thanks for sharing that. By the way, one question I did have for you, you had talked about the snow feature earlier. For those of you who aren't familiar with that, can you just tell everybody how they can turn that on?
Yes, you just use the slash.
Mm-hmm.
Let it snow. All one word, no spaces. Just made it snow.
Very cool.
And it'll say, "Yeah, just made it snow."
Awesome.
Well,
That is actually really cool. No, I
don't know how much longer that's going to last because
seasonally, right?
Obviously it's
Do
fun.
what? Yes, it absolutely. It actually would be neat if like you could do snow. Maybe you could do something really cool for like the summer. So
Maybe they will next summer.
No, I'm just thinking, or like that way people could kind of use it like, hey, what are you doing? Like, have something kind of fun that they can put up. But so we'll see. But yeah, for right now, just type / let it snow, all one word, and you will see in the comments it'll say just made it snow, and you'll get snow on the screen. So obviously it's probably seasonal. But so with that, by the way, Eileen, I want to thank you for joining me as co-host on this week's episode of Social Chatter.
You're welcome.
Pleasure having you on here. I think we've got great, great chemistry here. always talking about the latest, what's going on in social media, the latest tools, and gadgets and devices to really help you in your business. So,
adding me as a co-host.
Do it.
Do you mind as a co-host?
Sorry, I was cutting out. What was that?
A co-host, adding me as a.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
So just so it'll be on my profile.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'll get to that. So, by the way, with that, guys, I'm gonna just two last things for everybody. So if you want to subscribe to next week's episode, same time, 5:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's something that we've toyed around with, about changing the time. If 5:00 doesn't work for you, if you want something earlier, just let me know, and I can see if I can accommodate that.
It's perfect for me.
I know it's always tough. It's like it's always tough because I want everybody to be able to, get on the episode, and a lot of times people have, time commitments and whatnot that they have where they can't do that. But so this is next week's episode, and just two last things for everyone. So there's that, and then if you want to get on the email list, where basically I will send you an email the day of the show, kind of going over what some of the topics are, and also giving you a link to last week's show. You can text Social Chatter to 33444. That will get you on the email list. And the last thing I had for everyone was the link for tomorrow. Well, basically I'm going to do a blog post, a recap of everything. And you can access that by going to this link. And that link, by the way, will be up probably later tomorrow. So if you go there now, it won't work for you. So just give me until probably tomorrow, and you'll have something. So with that, I want to thank you again, Eileen. Thank you, Natalie, for all the great questions.
Just one thing, Christian, don't forget, guys, Pious and Day, and actually you can find that live.
Can you say that again? Because it was you were cutting out actually.
Eileen.
Oh, okay, good. Very cool. And here's a link to next week's show, by the way, everybody. Or sorry, to the replay and blog post of this week's show, actually. So with that, I want to thank everyone for joining me on this episode of Social Chatter, where we try to give you the latest in social media news from the past week, along with some powerful tools to help you. My name is Christian Karasevich. Got my co-host for this episode, Eileen over here, Eileen Smith. And we look forward to seeing you on next week's show. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.